Welcome to Economic Frontiers, your window into the pressing economic challenges of our time. I'm David Chen, and today we're exploring a crisis that's affecting millions of young people around the world, graduate unemployment and the subsequent risk of poverty. We're seeing alarming trends where even those with university degrees are struggling to secure stable employment and financial security. Joining me today is Dr. Elena Ramirez, an economist specializing in labor markets and educational outcomes. Dr. Ramirez, thank you for being here.
Thank you for having me, David. It's an important topic that deserves our attention, especially as we're seeing some troubling shifts in the labor market for recent graduates.
Let's start with the current landscape. What are we seeing in terms of graduate unemployment rates globally, and particularly in the last few years?
The numbers are concerning, David. According to recent data from 2025, the unemployment rate for recent college graduates in the United States has risen to 4.8%, compared to the overall unemployment rate of 4.0%. What's particularly alarming is that this reverses a decades-long trend where college graduates consistently had lower unemployment rates than the general population. Similar patterns are emerging across other developed economies. In Europe, while the overall employment rate for tertiary graduates is around 86.7%, this represents a decline from previous years, particularly for new entrants to the job market.
That's quite striking. Historically, a college degree has been seen as protection against unemployment. What's changed?
Several factors are converging to create this perfect storm. First, there's been a significant increase in the number of people obtaining degrees. Since 2000, the percentage of Americans with a bachelor's degree or higher has grown from 25.6% to 37.5%. That's a jump in nearly 75% of the number of college graduates. With more graduates competing for jobs, the value of a degree as a differentiator has diminished. Second, we're seeing structural shifts in hiring patterns, particularly in the technology sector, which has traditionally been a major employer of new graduates. Companies are now looking for more specialized skills and experience, creating a catch-22 for new graduates who can't get experience without getting hired first.
And I imagine the rise of artificial intelligence and automation is playing a role as well.
Absolutely. This is perhaps the most significant recent development. Studies show a steep decline in entry-level jobs that traditionally served as the first rung on the career ladder. Data suggests reductions of over 60% in entry-level positions in sectors like marketing, commercial, finance, data analysis, and administration. These are precisely the routine, task-based roles that AI can now handle. Data entry, basic analysis, administrative tasks, and junior marketing work. A Stanford University study found a 13% decline in employment for young workers in occupations deemed most exposed to AI. Interestingly, entry-level employment has declined mainly in applications where AI automates work, not in areas where it primarily augments human capabilities.
That raises an important question about the economic impact of this graduate unemployment crisis. What happens when young, educated people can't find suitable work?
The consequences are far-reaching, both for individuals and for society. At the individual level, research consistently shows that graduating during an economic downturn has long-lasting negative effects. Studies indicate that college graduates who start their careers during periods of high unemployment earn less for at least 10 to 15 years compared to those who graduate during prosperous times. This initial disadvantage can become a permanent downward shift in economic trajectory. We see higher rates of financial insecurity, delayed major life milestones like home ownership and family formation, and increased reliance on personal debt just to make ends meet.
And are there also implications for mental health and overall well-being?
Definitely. Research shows elevated rates of anxiety, depression, and even suicide risk among unemployed graduates, particularly in high-pressure societies where career success is strongly tied to personal identity. A 2024 study from Bangladesh documented complex links between graduate unemployment and suicidal behavior, highlighting the psychological toll of unfulfilled expectations after years of educational investment. There's also the phenomenon of scarring, the long-term psychological impact of early career setbacks that can affect confidence, risk-taking, and career advancement for decades.
Let's talk about poverty specifically. Are we seeing a rise in graduate poverty as a result of these unemployment trends?
Well, a college degree still provides significant protection against poverty compared to having no degree. We're seeing concerning trends in what researchers call graduate precarity, a state of financial vulnerability despite educational attainment. About 4% of bachelor's degree holders currently live below the poverty line, which is significantly better than the 24.7% poverty rate for those without a high school diploma. However, when we look at broader measures of financial insecurity, like being one emergency away from financial crisis or relying on gig work without benefits, a much larger percentage of graduates are struggling. What's more concerning is the value gap, the difference between what students invest in their education and the financial returns they receive. With rising tuition costs and stagnant entry-level wages, many graduates find themselves with significant student debt but limited means to repay it.
You mentioned student debt. How is that compounding the problem?
Student debt has become a major barrier to financial stability for many graduates. When combined with underemployment or unemployment, this debt burden prevents young people from building wealth through traditional paths like retirement savings or home equity. The average recent graduate now carries significant student loan debt, and without adequate income, they often defer other financial priorities. Research shows that student debt delays home ownership by an average of 7 years, reduces retirement savings, and even affects family planning decisions.
Let's shift to potential solutions. What policies or approaches could help address this growing graduate unemployment crisis?
We need a multifaceted approach. First, educational institutions need to bridge the skills gap between what they teach and what employers actually need. This means more partnerships with industry, expanded opportunities for work-integrated learning, and greater emphasis on both technical and transferable skills. Second, governments can implement targeted employment programs specifically for recent graduates. Countries like South Korea have had success with subsidized internship programs that provide graduates with real work experience while being partially funded by the government. Third, we need to address the structural issues in our economy that limit job creation. This means investing in innovation, supporting small and medium enterprises that traditionally create more jobs, and ensuring that automation and AI complement rather than replace human workers.
What about solutions at the individual level? What can graduates do to improve their prospects?
Lifelong learning is essential. Graduates need to continually update their skills and adapt to changing market demands. This doesn't necessarily mean pursuing additional formal degrees, but rather focusing on specific skills that are in demand.
Building a professional network is also crucial. Many jobs are found through connections rather than formal applications. Mentorship, both receiving and eventually providing it, can help create pathways into industries. There's also evidence that labor mobility, being willing to relocate for opportunities, significantly improves employment outcomes for graduates. And entrepreneurs who create their own opportunities often fare better than those solely dependent on traditional employment paths.
Are there any countries or regions that are handling this issue particularly well? Models we could learn from?
Germany's dual education system, which combines classroom learning with workplace apprenticeships, has been highly effective at reducing youth unemployment. Even for university graduates, this approach to work-integrated learning ensures that students develop practical skills alongside theoretical knowledge. Singapore has implemented a comprehensive Skills Future program that provides citizens with credits to pursue continuing education throughout their careers. This helps workers, including recent graduates, remain adaptable as labor market needs evolve. In Canada, the federal government's Canada Summer Jobs program subsidizes wages for employers who hire students and recent graduates, creating entry-level opportunities that might otherwise not exist.
Let's also consider the role of businesses. What responsibility do employers have in addressing this crisis?
Businesses play a crucial role. Rather than demanding candidates who are job-ready with years of experience for entry-level positions, companies should invest in training and development programs that give new graduates a chance to prove themselves. There's evidence that firms that invest in on-the-job training during economic downturns actually outperform their competitors when conditions improve. By developing talent rather than just acquiring it, businesses can create a more resilient workforce. Companies can also redesign workflows to ensure that AI and automation enhance human workers rather than replace them. This means focusing on how technology can remove routine tasks so that even junior employees can contribute higher value work.
As we wrap up our discussion, what gives you hope about the future for today's graduates?
Despite the challenges, I'm optimistic for several reasons. First, graduates today are more adaptable and technologically savvy than any previous generation. They're finding innovative ways to create value, whether through traditional employment, entrepreneurship, or new forms of work we haven't even fully defined yet. Second, the increasing focus on well-being and work-life balance is creating pressure for more humane and sustainable economic models. This could lead to better distribution of work and opportunities across the population. Finally, history shows that periods of technological disruption eventually lead to new forms of work and prosperity. While the transition is painful, I believe we'll emerge with economic models that create meaningful work for educated people while using technology to enhance human potential rather than diminish it.
That's a hopeful note to end on. Dr. Ramirez, thank you for sharing your expertise with us today on this critical issue of graduate unemployment and poverty. To our listeners, thank you for joining us on Economic Frontiers. If you found this discussion valuable, please subscribe to our channel and share this episode with others who might benefit. Until next time, I'm David Chen, encouraging you to keep exploring the economic frontiers shaping our world.
Thank you, David. It's been a pleasure discussing these important issues with you.